Welcome to your NBA Mid-Season Awards. I'm your host, Jay Rose, as always, and don't worry why I'm in business casual attire with a beanie on. My hair's not done. Mind your goddamn business. Let's get into these awards. Now, being that this is my award show, I have awards that are not official NBA awards. You know what I'm saying? So, just keep that in mind. You know, I usually try to milk the views out and leave my MVP towards the middle of the video, but I feel like this season, there's no cause for that. The clear-cut MVP in my eyes is Gilgeous-Alexander, and I don't really understand how you could feel any different kind of way at the moment. Obviously, we got Nikola Jokic putting up huge numbers, but if we're just going based on how you usually do things for the MVP award, Shai is the best player on the best team, putting up crazy numbers, one of the best scorers in the league. I don't think he's a super great defender, but his defensive numbers also look really, really good. His efficiency looks nice, one of the smoothest games I've ever seen. OKC looks like one of the best teams in the league, so I have to give my MVP to Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, hands down. My next award, the least valuable player in the league, the LVP. It gotta go to Paul George, man, for 3 reasons. First reason, Paul George has missed so much time. And the reason that you pick up Paul George is so that he can supplement your team when Embiid misses time, because they already account for Embiid missing a certain amount of games each year. So the fact that you bring in Paul George and he's also not playing is very troublesome. Second reason, my guy, you're just not playing well. Like, they really brought you in to be better than Tobias Harris, and you're more or less just being Tobias Harris, with Embiid not playing with you that often either is very concerning. Most of the time this season, Paul George has been a first or second option on the court, and he's not playing like it at all. So it's just not great. Third option, boy, y'all gave him a bag. You gave him a bag. Like, this is really, Paul George this season is teetering on Bradley Beal talks, because the contract versus what he's producing on the court is just nowhere near similar. It's really, really bad. It's really, really bad right now. Paul George, midway through the season this season, you're getting my LVP. Let's get back into some positives. We got the defensive player of the year, and honestly, I was trying to find a way to beat around the bush and not pick Wembanyama. I was looking at guys like Dyson Daniels, and I'm looking at guys like Caruso and Lou Dort. I'm looking at the top defensive teams to see if there's players on those teams that deserve it. But honestly, I can't look at anybody else but Victor Wembanyama and really say that they deserve it over him, because Wembanyama just looks like a defensive monster, if I'm being completely frank. He looks absolutely insane on defense, and he's coming out getting like 2-3 blocks in one play. I've seen him do that multiple times this season. He just had 8 blocks yesterday. Punched Zach Edey, even though Zach Edey did dunk on him. It's a good dunk, Edey. And Ja also dunked on him. That's a great dunk, Ja. That's a great dunk. But either way, I was already telling people before he got drafted, Wembanyama is going to be a great help side defender, great off-ball defender, great rim protector. Just because of his length alone, never mind his mobility, just having that wingspan and that height will automatically just make you a crazy rim defender. And that's what he's been. He's averaging like 4 blocks right now. Honestly, I thought they were going to be around 500. So they're honestly meeting my expectations, and that has a big part due to Wemby's defense. So Wemby is getting my defensive player of the year. Offensive player of the year. And I feel like this one's just a gimme. You know what I mean? Let's bring in some football rules. We got the MVP, we got the offensive player of the year, defensive player of the year. We're going to give this to Nikola Jokic. Jokic is putting up crazy numbers as he does every season. If you need Jokic to fill up your kitchen sink stats, he's going to fill them up. So I'm just looking at his numbers. Obviously, he's tops in the efficiency stats every single year. He's averaging 30, 13, and 9, which is absolutely ridiculous. But I'd like for the team success to be a little higher, especially since we deny other players their MVPs because their team success is not as high. So if we're just keeping it consistent and not giving him an anomaly year, which I guess could be warranted if you're arguing that, you could argue this is an anomaly season. And to be honest, if he does average a 30-point triple-double with 13 rebounds, you could definitely argue me in that direction. But just because of the seeding and how far down they are compared to the Thunder, I'm going to let the Nuggets and Nikola Jokic get the offensive player of the year and not the MVP. I was very proud of coming up with this idea. the cardio award. The cardio award, the running man award. It just goes to the player who plays a whole lot of minutes, but his production is not reflective of those minutes at all. He's just out there running. And my cardio award goes to a former Maverick. We just traded him this offseason, Josh Green on the Hornets. Josh Green is averaging 6.9 points, 2.9 rebounds, and 1.4 assists in 28 minutes of action. For reference, he played less minutes on the Mavericks and had more numbers in every single statistical category. He cannot buy a bucket on the Hornets. He can't get an assist on the Hornets. He can't get a rebound on the Hornets. It's just a really bad look. My guy's just out there running. I hate to see that for you, Josh Green. My most improved player, honestly, was between a couple of people. I felt like there's a decent amount of candidates that deserved it. And somebody that was on the top of my list was RJ Barrett. I feel like he definitely has looked really, really good this season. He's gotten into a groove and he's averaging up over 20 points. He's having career highs in multiple different categories. But I decided to go probably the general consensus pick this year again, which is Jalen Johnson. The only thing that made me pick Jalen Johnson over RJ Barrett is that Jalen Johnson's role more or less hasn't changed that much. Obviously, they lose DeJounte, so now you're looking at other guys to step up. But he's just kind of been on this team, and the star player hasn't changed. He's been Jalen Johnson, and because he's progressed and gotten better, his role on the team has gotten higher. Opposed to RJ, who I think has always been pretty decent. He got traded off of the Knicks, and his numbers were obviously going to go up. He went from a third, fourth option, sometimes maybe even a fifth option on the Knicks. And then you come out here, you go to Toronto, and now you're immediately the number one or number two option on any given night. He's allowed to take as many shots as he wants. He's allowed to run the offense how he wants. That's honestly more or less his team. It's him and Scotty Barnes. That's all Toronto has right now. So being that he just had a super significant jump in what his role is on the team, I just felt like it was slightly more impactful what Jalen Johnson is doing versus RJ Barrett. So I give the nod to Jalen Johnson. The best new acquired player award, and there's honestly a lot of moving pieces this season. We got Klay Thompson on the Mavericks. We got CP3 going over to San Antonio. We got DeMar DeRozan going over to the Kings. There's one player that has absolutely made me super happy seeing his success this season and seeing how he's meshing with their team and giving them more effectiveness, and it's equating to wins, and that is Russell Westbrook. Russell Westbrook has been my favorite addition on any team this season. Russell Westbrook going to the Nuggets, I was very skeptical. I didn't know how he was going to fit, but his three-point shot looks very much improved. His decision-making looks very much improved. Overall shot making, the way he meshes with Jokic, and honestly, it looks like he's just turning the clock back. He's running all up and down the court. He's fired up all the time. I love this. As somebody who loved Westbrook when he was a kid, I love seeing Westbrook succeed and love seeing him play well, and he's doing that on the Nuggets. This is the best basketball he's played since probably his days on the Wizards, and I just love to see that, man. I just love to see that. So Russell Westbrook is my best new addition this season. The Avatar Roku Award.
But when the world needed him most, he vanished.
When this team needed him most, he vanished. He's not here. And this was supposed to be a real, let's get some guys and try to make a run this year. We got a new revamped team. We brought in this new point guard, and let's really go do something this season. And then Zion Williamson plays 9 games. Super disappointing. I just made a video on Zion's career like a couple of weeks ago, and the trend is continuing. The guy has missed games for multiple different reasons. He's just rested games. He's been hurt. He's had nagging injuries. He's had sustained injuries. He's had suspensions. He's missing team flights. I just personally don't think Zion wants to be there anymore, because that's kind of just giving the proof in the pudding. Like, a lot of the issues that he has is related to taking care of his body and staying in shape 24/7. And as a basketball player, I feel like that is your obligation. And if you wanted to play for the team that you are currently at, you would do your due diligence in making sure you're in your peak form, your peak shape. You know, I might rebrand the Avatar Roku Award when the playoffs come around. The person that vanished is the person that played the worst, not the person that was hurt. My most improved team award, it has to go to the Detroit Pistons. The Detroit Pistons, man, they've already got more wins this season midway through than they did the entire last season. And a lot of people did not expect them to be this good. I personally did. I didn't even think they were going to be that bad last year. So to see how they turned around and really bounced back, Cade Cunningham looks like a legitimate player you can build around. Jaden Ivey's coming into his own. I love Jalen Duren already. They added some vets like THJ and Tobias Harris, and that's exactly what they needed. And now they're a 500 team, and they're definitely fighting for a playoff spot. This also goes hand in hand with my Coach of the Year award. I feel like it gotta go to JB Bickerstaff, because when Monty Williams was the coach, there's so much turmoil with the lineups, and why isn't Jaden Ivey playing, and he's playing Killian Hayes over these guys, and they weren't winning games. This year they're a 500 team. They're a real threat to win on a night-to-night basis. Like, you can't go into Detroit and just assume that's an automatic win anymore, and I think that's huge for Detroit. I think that's huge. You can obviously be like, how is Mark Daniel not the Coach of the Year? Or how is Kenny Atkinson not the Coach of the Year? Obviously, I can understand those 2 1 seeds, 2 best teams in the league, 2 hottest teams in the league. But I just feel like the coaching change, along with bringing in some new vets, has completely changed the culture in Detroit, and they're no longer considering themselves an automatic L every time a team walks into their building, and that's huge. So most improved team and Coach of the Year both go to Detroit and JB Bickerstaff. Let me know if you enjoyed this award show. Let me know if you enjoyed, the little change up. I stood up today, put on a little fit, put on a little award show fit. I'm trying to get in the vibe, you know what I mean? Let me know if you like this video. Of course, leave a like if you did, subscribe, and I'll catch y'all in the next one.